Hello everyone, and this is my review for TNA Impact Wrestling on June the 28th, 2016, and, this episode of Impact was not a bad episode by any stretch of the imagination. There wasn't too much to say negatively about the show. If there's anything negative to really go about, it's more nitpicking. By no means was this a perfect or great show, but this was a good show to go along with everything. It started out with the show being Michael Bennett and Maria cutting a promo in the ring. Basically, Michael Bennett saying that he's going to use the X Division title to go ahead and cash it in with the option C to go after the World Heavyweight title. This prompts, of course, Bobby Lashley come out because obviously world champion at the time, and the two of them start having a pretty good back and forth. And honestly, this would be an interesting match to see in some way, shape, or form too, to go along with it. But it does prompt out EC3 because obviously they have to promote the match for tonight, the triple threat match for tonight to go along with it. Again, more good back and forth between both sides, and it does eventually lead to Billy Corgan coming out and basically, trying to dissolve anything, and basically also to say what EC3 said about him, which was he felt like EC3 said all Michael Bennett did was suck up to a former rock star and got a title match. Obviously, he came out there and started saying like, I'm just an objector or a observer of this, and and then eventually a match was proposed by EC3 is like Michael Bennett versus all of the X Division stars. And eventually something was made where, okay, all the X Division stars are going to have a battle royal, and the winner that night gets a X Division title shot. First of all, what's up with Billy Corgan having to continually say certain words twice? Like he said tonight, twice. Now, don't get me wrong. I know Smashing Pumpkins are pretty big with music. I'm not a big music listener, so I don't really know any of the music from them or anything like that. That might have something to do with that in some way, shape, or form. But that was a very interesting portion of the promo. Like I very much felt like the beginnings of the promo were really well done. The Billy Corgan stuff, he does come off. If there's one thing he does come off with in terms of his voice and how he's portrayed, he does come off as an official. He doesn't come off as an over-the-top type character, which is a good thing because that's what he's supposed to be, as an official. So that kind of works in that sense and everything. In the end, you get that match set up for later in the night. Obviously, you have the triple threat match for the world title later in the night. One thing I would like to point out, because I liked this during the entrance from EC3, Bobby Lashley just stood in the ring, back turned, and and he wasn't even staring at Michael Bennett. He just back turned to EC3, didn't want to acknowledge him at all. I thought this came off really well. It did lead to all three of them brawling. Drew Galloway coming out there to try to start cleaning house. Eventually, he wants to hit Bobby Lashley with a Claymore kick, accidentally hits the EC3. They end the segment in that way, where Drew's kind of staring down EC3 as well. They argue backstage a little bit afterwards to go along with it, and you do get another promo from Drew Galloway and Michael Bennett to go along with it. All pretty good stuff leading into where things were going throughout the night. The next segment, which was also their first match, was Gail Kim versus Sienna, knockout style on the line. This was an alright, okay match. It was a rather short fare. By no means was anything done wrong in the match. It might have been a little bit overbooked. You have Allie out there, and Allie's kind of that annoying mouthpiece for Sienna right now, which is not a bad way of going. It does come off at least decent, and it does kind of make you want to, the way that Allie portrays her voice does make you want to boo or kind of have some dislike towards dislike or hatred towards the character itself. And of course, Sienna is there as the big the muscle and and basically the enforcer of everything. And like I said, the match itself was all right. It wasn't anything great. It was rather, like I said before, it was rather short. Jade and Marty Bell eventually get involved because Jade comes down there to take out Hallie as she's trying to hit Gail with the Knockouts title, and then Marty Bell comes out there and hits her with a baton. It does cause at least a little bit enough of a distraction so Sienna can hit like a pounce type maneuver on Gail Kim to get the win. Like I said, nothing special to this match because it was done rather quickly to go along with everything. You had a couple you had a backstage promo after this. You have Matt Hardy in a wheelchair. By the way, just the way he comes off in this broken Matt Hardy gimmick is just too good. It's just that over the top right now with how Matt Hardy talks. But he continually says this is never over between the two of us. And I'm thinking in my head, like, come on, can they just end this already? And you know, they do announce something in the end, which was that they're going to have one more match and the Hardy brand was going to be on the line. And it wouldn't be something that they do here. You have to do this in North Carolina or something like that. It's going to be next week, but it's like one of those matches that's not going to happen in the building and it's going to happen somewhere else, like they tape it elsewhere. It should be interesting, but like I said, I feel like this feud should have ended at Slammiversary. Yet, we get 2 more matches. I mean, we'll see where they go with it, but I'm kind of waning thin on this. The whole aspect of Matt Hardy in a wheelchair, though, having to be wheeled around the ring, and I like the aspect that he overreacts to the, like, he winces, like, heavily in pain when Rebby has to wheel the wheelchair over the padding and get him going around the ring. I did like stuff like that. The promo was rather decent between the two of them, but again, it's like this feud should have ended already. It's like, please end it, and I'm hoping that next week's match, whether they have Matt finally get a win or Jeff wins and they go somewhere else with the Matt character, I don't know where, but like, this feud needs to end because I think they're going to go at least 2 matches more than they needed to in this case. But overall, I mean, the segment itself was not that bad. Here's a segment of the show. Like I said, I'm going mostly through segments because there weren't too many matches to go along with everything. But here's a segment. They had Eli Drake doing a fact of life. He brings out his guests, which was James Storm. Eli Drake talking up beforehand is like how people don't like the fact that he has the King of the Mountain title and everything on that aspect. He even goes through like a life story. It's like what his family does, which was kind of hilarious. It's like, we make mashed potatoes and we kick ass. Huh? But again, like, the charisma of Eli Drake kind of makes up for like anything weird that he does kind of say here. And in all honesty, the segment was a lot of fun. Like, the promo between James Storm and Eli Drake was really, really good. Like, this is the beginnings of a feud, and I like the whole aspect that James Storm in the middle of it is like, you know what, we're gonna start a drinking game. Every time you hit the button, we take a drink, and then he starts actually taking drinks. So things like that they came off really well. They had moments of comedy towards it, but a lot of seriousness along with it to start an actual feud between the two teams. Or not the two teams, what am I thinking there? But between the two people, and I thought the segment came off really well done. And again, another segment. I know there's a couple other matches here, and I'll get to those next. But they had another quick segment with Bram and Rosemary backstage. Rosemary basically trying to coerce Bram into coming to Decay and saying that, you know, beforehand they showed stuff from like the explosion taping where he gets attacked by Decay beforehand, and again, not a bad promo. Like, Bram pulling off the whole aspect that he needs no one, but Rosemary saying is like, eventually everything leads to decay and everything like that. I thought it came off pretty good. Like I said, I like the decay characters. I like where they go with them, and it should be interesting to see where they go with this as well, to go along with everything. So now we finally get to some more matches, because they had done a lot of promos throughout the entire night. So we had the X Division Battle Royal. First of all, to make things, go, crazy about the whole aspect of continuity, it's like, why isn't just Eddie Edwards getting a rematch for the X Division title? He is kind of owed one in that sense of things. So again, why aren't they just giving that to him? But no, they make a battle royal here. Braxton Sutter wins the actual battle royal by eliminating the Helms Dynasty, Trevor Lee and Everett, and also an aspect for any kind of feud building down the road. Michael Bennett helps eliminate Eddie Edwards, so you're getting rid of that into that aspect. So the Helms Dynasty beats down Braxton Sutter after the match, and of course Michael Bennett picks the bones, gets the match immediately, and quickly wins the match. So they're building this storyline that he's just going to have the X Division title. They even do a promo saying it's like at 9 o'clock I'm going to turn in the X Division title next week, and saying I'm going to get a World Heavyweight title match at Destination X. Now let's see where they go with that, or they actually just go that route with it to begin with. But it should be interesting to see how they come off of that segment next week on the show. Again, it's not a horrible way. But it's not a horrible way for doing things, but it's not necessarily the best way of doing them, or using that X Division title option. See, usually that's something that's reserved for just the X Division stars. So that's the whole aspect that they play off of here too, which I think is a great thing. You hear that on commentaries, like usually is like these are for the X Division stars. Technically anybody can be in it, so Michael Bennett goes into that to go along with it, but Michael Bennett's completely making fun of the X Division to go along with it, so he's trying to put it down but yet use it as a golden ticket to get to the World Heavyweight title. It's an interesting way of going with the belt at this point in time, and we'll see how things work out, or things go next week with everything on that aspect of the match, or like where the title's going, or how they're going to be doing things. You had a backstage segment with Grado and Muhammad Ashira saying it's like, we're going to have a third man for the six man tag, and it's like, we got to put our money together and we're going to get this third man. And well, lo and behold, they have the match with the Tribunal, and they say they have the third man, but they get attacked, but he decides to come out anyway, and it ends up being Tyrus. So Tyrus is going on this, he can fix it. Like, you have a problem, I'm your fixer. So he's a hired gun. Like, that's what he's been going with. But they're going on an aspect of more random sides of everything. Like, Tyrus helps them win this match. Nothing really to talk about. It's kind of more introducing Tyrus as this a fixer or a problem solver type gimmick. And we'll see where they go with everything down the road here to go along with that. So, this finally leads into the night, which is the Bobby Lashley, Drew Galloway, EC3 match. This was a fun triple threat match. This was honestly a really fun triple threat match to see. Bobby Lashley looking dominant throughout the entire match, getting attacked by both guys, eventually pulling out the victory. And they had all the normal aspects of everything there. Like, you had EC3 fighting Drew Galloway and whatnot. You also had like each guy kind of get thrown out of the ring and teasing a little bit here and there. But here's the interesting thing about it. You have the aspect that Lashley wins. He pins EC3. So now they can play off, if they're going to go this Michael Bennett, Bobby Lashley route, they can play off of this whole aspect that, okay, Michael Bennett, you've beaten Drew Galloway and you've beaten EC3. But so have I. And so it kind of puts them on the even playing field. And if you go based off of how like fans will look at it, it's like, oh, Michael Bennett barely beat EC3 with a roll-up, and he, beat Drew Galloway, but with like dubious outside interference, while Bobby Lashley kind of just dominated and beat both of these guys in some way, shape, or form, without any help, without any real interference. And he was just able to win the match. So they can play off of that or something. Like, they have something to play off of with this, the way this match ended out going with this triple threat. And it should be interesting to see where they go with everything down the road here. So we'll see where they go with it. Like I said, overall, this week's Impact, it was a pretty good show. It wasn't a great show by any stretch of the imagination. I thought the promo between Eli Drake and James Storm came off really good. It was a great promo between the two of them. This is like a great way to start a feud between both guys, and we'll see where they go along with that down the road, but also see where they go with everything else. Like, what's going to happen with the X Division title? Does Michael Bennett have to defend it next week again, or does he just turn it in? You have storylines to go into the next week. So that is pretty much everything for TNA Impact Wrestling this week. So that is my review this week for TNA Impact. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.